Right, it's brew day. So, finally, I've been so busy. I've been away, I went to France, then it was half term. I've had a cabin built in the back garden that's taken about 3 weeks solid, or 3 weekends I should say, solid just painting and just work. So yeah, everything's getting in the way of actually brewing some beer. I've got empty kegs and I need to turn around the beer fairly quickly. So what I'm planning is a Pilsner. Now, obviously Pilsners don't normally, are not beers that you turn around quickly. However, I've purchased a new piece of equipment. It is the Fermzilla all-rounder with a pressure kit. So it has a spunding valve and the bits and bobs that comes with it. So I'm doing a pressure fermented Pilsner. So first time out, this is a brand new bit of kit. So this is a bit of experimentation. I've obviously done a bit of research. But yeah, it's the first time actually using it, so it's going to be interesting. I'm keeping everything pretty simple. The grain bill for this is, and this is a 23 litre batch, the grain bill is 4 kilograms of Pilsner malt. I'm using crisp Pilsen malt, which is 3.4 EBC, and with that 250 grams of Dextrin or Carapils. So that's it, nice and straightforward. Hops wise, I'm using a SARS alternative called Lubelski, which is a Polish hop. Lublin, I think, is an alternative word. So Lubelski. The descriptors for aroma are floral, nutty, and herbal. So it's also supposed to have a bit of a spicy edge to it. So yeah, it's like a Polish SARS noble hop. This is 2023 harvest, nice and fresh, from Crossmyloof. This is 3.1% alpha acid, so pretty low. I've got a 100 gram pack here. I'm going to use it all. I'm going to need it all to achieve the bitterness that I'm after. So yeah, I don't know how it's really going to sort of affect its flavour and aroma, but it's quite a lot of hops, I guess, 100 grams in this. Yeah, so 60 minutes, 55 grams of Lubelski, 10 minutes, 30 grams of Lubelski, and 1 minute, or flame out probably, 15 grams of Lubelski. Now I'm saying this, I think it's probably it would be a crime not to call this the big Lubelski. So I think that is the working title of this beer. Yeast wise, I'm using lager yeast. So as I said, I'm fermenting this under pressure. So I'm using, this is Crossmyloof Hell Pilsner yeast. It actually says the fermentation range is 12 to 21. That seems pretty high for a lager yeast. So yeah, it seems like this can sort of work well at higher temperatures anyway. I'm assuming that means it can ferment clean, but I'm going to ferment it around 21 degrees, but under pressure at 13 psi. So as I said, it's the first time using it. I think I'm safe with 13 psi. So fermenting it under pressure means, as it's fermenting warmer than you probably normally with a lager yeast. I've used this before and I've fermented it at 12 degrees and it took a couple of weeks to ferment out, and obviously ramped it up at the end. I'm not going to need to bother with any of that. I'm just going to ferment it at 21 degrees, and I think this should probably be finished within a week under pressure. So from what I have seen via Google and YouTube, that it does ferment out pretty clean and is drinkable within a couple of weeks. So that's what I'm planning. The added benefit of brewing under pressure as well is will be self-carbonated, so it'll be naturally carbonated when I put it in the keg. I don't know if it'll need topping up carbonation wise, but should be ready to drink after fermenting. But I think what my plan is that I'm going to ferment it for a week. If it's done, after a week I'll probably cold crash it and then put it into a keg maybe for another week. So I'm hoping this should be ready to drink, yeah, in a couple of weeks. So the mash is already well underway. I'm mashing at 67 degrees for 60 minutes. I don't know what else there is to say about it really. Oh yeah, I'm using RO water. So yeah, spotless water, RO water. I've made no additions to it whatsoever. So I recently watched the Malt Miller video. Can't remember the guy's name now, but he was yeah, an expert in brewing sort of Czech Pilsners, and he used RO water, no additions whatsoever. I have made adjustments for the pH, so I've added some AMS liquid just to level out the mash pH, but that's the only adjustment I've made to that water, otherwise it's pure RO water. And that's it really. So yeah, 60-minute boil. I would normally do a 30-minute boil, but I think I'm going to need to do a 60-minute boil to achieve the bitterness. So I'm hoping for 25 IBUs, and yeah, it's well within the range of colour. 6 EBC, I think, finished, and that's it. So yeah, mash is underway. I'm going to, once that's finished, bring it up to the boil and have my first addition of my Lubelski. So the big Lubelski is well underway, and yeah, I'll get some footage on the way, and I will see you at the end for the tasting. Cheers. Here it is, 28 days in the keg now. So yeah, it did finish probably within about a week under pressure. So yeah, I started it off under pressure. I've probably learned now that actually you should let it sort of start before you apply the pressure. But I just went in full pressure, and it kicked off probably the day after I brewed it. So it didn't seem to affect it too much. Yeah, so it charged through. It was done within about a week. I think I probably gave it about 8-9 days before it went into the keg. I didn't have any means of cold crashing. I've had a bit of a nightmare with my fridges. So broken fridge, so I couldn't cold crash it. I did use gelatin in the keg, but as you might be able to make out, it has got a slight haze on it. So yeah, I mean, very, very slight. It's getting better. First couple of weeks it was a little bit more hazy than that, so it is clearing in the keg, although I'm getting through it because it's quite a nice beer to drink. So yeah, so you can see how it turns out. It's very, very pale, very straw coloured pale, as you would expect. It's just been Pilsner malt and the Carapils. It's got a nice fluffy head on it, nice bit of carbonation. Yeah, very appealing looking beer, if I may say so myself. So yeah, the only sort of minus point there is it is slightly hazy, but I don't care. I'm drinking it myself, so I'm not entering any competitions or anything with it. So yeah, it's all good. So yeah, in terms of appearance, all good. What does it smell like? So the Lublin, the aroma descriptors were citrus, herbal, spicy, pinch of cinnamon, bergamot and lemon, I think. So it's a kind of SARS alternative. Now I am getting sort of some citrusy notes. I wouldn't, if somebody hadn't said, well, I hadn't read bergamot, I'd probably never ever pick that out of the bag. Bergamot is that kind of weird citrus fruit I think you put in Earl Grey tea. But yeah, I mean, I would never pick out bergamot, but it's kind of lemony, but there's a little bit of something else citrusy, so I guess that's what I mean by the bergamot. I'm not really picking up any cinnamon as such. It's floral, but a little bit spicy, not too spicy. So it actually smells pretty decent, and there's a sort of nice bready honey note that you get with, you know, the Pilsner malt. So yeah, it smells pretty good. So let's dive in. Really good, really nice. That is a proper summer chugging beer. I can't remember where it finished out now, 4 point something, low 4%-ish. It's got a nice crispness to it, despite it being pressure fermented at quite a high temperature, 20 odd degrees I think it was now, so it's still nice and crisp. I forgot to mention on the aroma, it does smell lagery, if you kind of know what I mean. It's got that kind of lagery smell to it, a little bit of sulphur maybe from the yeast, so it definitely smells lagery. Taste wise, again, you get a lot of that citrus, you know, well, it's not overwhelmingly citrus, but there's a definite sort of lemony citrus coming through from the hops. Nice bit of sort of that sort of spiciness that you get from Sars and those kind of noble hops. So really nice beer actually. Pretty pleased with that. Yeah, for what turned out to be, you know, quite simple and an experiment, as this was my first pressure fermented beer, I'm pretty pleased. So it's definite thumbs up for me. I'll be doing more experiments with pressure fermenting, and actually I've just kegged another one that was a hoppy hazy. I'm not too sure how that one's going to turn out yet, so if you don't see a video for a hoppy hazy beer coming up soon, then you know where that one's gone. But I will be experimenting a bit more with kind of lager yeasts and pressure fermenting going forward, and yeah, and actually the closed transfer out of the pressure fermenter was pretty easy, and obviously no oxygen contact, so that was a big plus point on that. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy a few of these. If you're watching it now, this is Friday before the Euro finals on Sunday, so there'll be many of these drunk on Sunday, and hopefully a few more after, and get the right result. So cheers everyone, and yeah, enjoy my Pilsner.